in the studio with us our friend Terry Stevens. And most everyone knows Terry here in the county, and certainly recognize Stevens Pipe and Steel. But Terry, good morning to you, and thank you for being on All Things Wrestling.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Tony. It's always I always tune in for this program. Thank you for having me. But I'm a lifelong resident here of Russell County. But I always learn something when I'm listening to the program, history of Russell County, and so on and so forth. So I enjoy this program very much. So
well,
thank you.
Thank you very much. We Tony and I have talked, and I know we talked to you a couple of times in the past about just sharing with the people of Russell County and those that are listening and the history behind what is recognized as a very successful nationwide company. But interestingly, Terry, I was actually talking to someone this week who didn't realize that you really got started as Russell County clerk, and someone that just didn't realize that, a lot younger than us three for sure. But tell us about your background. You mentioned you grew up in Russell County, your parents, and growing up here. Just share some thoughts with us.
Well, you mentioned the county clerk days. That seems like a lifetime ago, of course. But yeah, I've been blessed in so many ways and whatnot here. And we started the business back in 1984. I was working for Dick Cove there.
74.
74. Thank you, Tony.
74. Because as you and I have talked, Terry, a lot of people don't realize Stevens Pipe is a company that's old. They just see, they thought maybe it was an overnight success. This has been a long haul. Your company's almost 50 years old.
Yeah, we're 48 years this year. Well, thank you, Tony. It was 74. So anyway, I got started. That's what introduced me to the steel business. Is I was a bookkeeper there at Amaranth. That they manufactured farm gates, and so anyway, from there I started. We had a little side business where we sold the gates also, and so we had trucks and so on and so forth. And J.R. Mann was one of my drivers there. He was one of my. He hauled gates and sold them out all over the country there. And so anyway, I had the idea of taking the better material. Keep in mind, this was all secondary material that we were buying from a vendor around the country, mostly in Chicago. And I'd take, after work and on weekends, I would take and grade the material out and sort it out, load it on my truck on a Saturday, and go to either Nashville or Louisville or Chattanooga or Knoxville, Cincinnati, anywhere where I could. And so I drove the truck and I sorted the material.
You yourself
I did. Yeah, there was, everybody always says, well, I started with one employee. I started with me. So there was no employee. And so I started doing that till I met and got acquainted with quite a number of different customers, and the material it sold itself. It was really easy back in those days, and so every Saturday I'd go out and just have a load on a truck and sell out of my what I had sorted out the previous week. So anyway, after I developed a customer base of 20 or 30 customers, we got started with a customer out of Science Hill. His name was B.J. Brown, and so B.J. and I started, and our first year or two was actually in Somerset, and it was in Somerset only because he rented from a nursery that had a forklift. We didn't own a forklift, so the only reason we was there was because his landlord had a forklift. He'd let us use it.
Yes, sir.
So it was 2 or 3 years before we opened up. Then we opened up across from the Hollis Edmonds Law Office there on Wilson Street.
Yeah.
And we started as myself, J.R. Mann, my brother Rob, and Ivan Emerson was one of our first employees, and so. It grew very slowly there for a number of years, and like I said, that was in '74. Well, in '77, I chose county clerk. I stayed in the clerk's office for 3 terms for 12 years, and the business continued to grow. And after 12 years, JR had done such a good job and whatnot, and so at that time I decided not to seek re-election, and we had started hiring some salespeople: Larry Blair, Jim Estes, Dave Gaskins, some of our first folks there and whatnot. Yeah. And so it's been, we've been surrounded by friends, enjoying what we do for 48 years.
Yeah. So you began, really, you and BJ began there on Wilson Street in Russell Springs. Very small location.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit about where you are today, the number of locations and the number of states that you have operations in, but it's really interesting, Tony, that this business, this multi-state business, began right there on Wilson Street in Russell Springs.
Yeah, that was the old Leroy Rowe building. Yeah. For those older than
next
my
to the
age,
Times Journal.
Next to the Times Journal, and it's still there. We actually have a picture of that building in our hallway. There's our first location there. So, but anyway, we currently have 18 locations in 16 states. And we're blessed to be the largest domestic supplier of our fencing products, and we've made products for everything all over the world. We've recently been sending a lot of stuff down to Eagle Pass, Texas, on the border there. We've a lot of the border fence that the state of Texas is buying and whatnot. But everywhere you look, we over here at the Columbia Correction Center there, the youth center over youth detention center. But from inaugurations to the Pope's visit was a lot of special needs there that we provided. When they have vice presidential debate in Danville, that was that was us, and we had Secret Service come by and gave me a plaque. Anyway, they appreciated all the stuff that we provided for them. But anyway, we've done all 50 states. We sell in every state, and we have an awful good network of people, and the company has continued to grow. We've just last year we added. In the last year, we've added 135 jobs in the last 12 months. So. And
Terry, was there something you said you got out of the clerk's office you didn't run after 3 terms in, I guess, 85 or 89, I guess 89, and then went full time in furthering your business? Was there something that happened that just allowed the business to take off, or was it just continuing to serve customers and get your name out there? Was there an event or something that gave you a boost?
Well, we've had it's been a constant growth. I mean, it has been 48 years.
Yeah, that's true. I forget that.
Yeah, but it's been a steady growth over those years. We've had a year or two there where, in the recession of '08, that there was a little pause there in growth, and so on and so forth. But we've had it's just been our people. I mentioned a minute ago that we had 135 employees company wide, but 95 of those have been here in Russell County. 95 of those have been here because we manufacture most of what we sell in other states. We manufacture it here, and we couldn't have done that without the best people in the world. There's so many people like Richard Woolridge, like Peggy Bailey. I could go on and on with people that come right out of high school and joined us right out of high school and have been with us more than half their life.
Yeah.
You know.
And you said you added 135 new employees in the last 12 months, and 90 some of those here in Russell County.
95 were here in Kentucky. Right, 95 were here, and that's been as a result of our we have this distribution network. We have about 5,500 customers nationwide, and we're constantly manufacturing and creating more things that they already buy from maybe others or what have you.
Yeah.
So we're expanding our manufacturing footprint. As a matter of fact, we probably, as early as maybe next week, will be purchasing the Lawless Welding facility, and Gene is going to retire, step back, semi-retire, what have you, and we have designs to employ probably 20 or 30 people in that facility to make ornamental fence. And we sell it now. We can't keep up, and we.
What is ornamental fence?
That's a wrought iron fence, like a black decorative fence, steel. We distribute steel and aluminum both, but this will be a steel facility, and of course, we make the tubing. We have 5 tube mills. We just installed the mill started. We just got it up and going just this year. So we have the increase in our capacity, and then so if we're making the raw materials for the product, and then we put in a coating facility to coat it, and then it takes quite a bit of manpower, labor to assemble the product and whatnot.
So the new location there on Highway 80 across from Lawless and Smith,
Yeah.
where Lawless Welding is, that is going to be specifically for the manufacturing of ornamental fencing.
That's correct.
Because your demand is there.
Well, and keep in mind too, Jeff, that we have this 1 million square feet of Fruit Loom, but it's full. And so this will actually make our 9th location in Russell County where we have employment. And so, as we've continued to grow, it's just like our truck maintenance garage. I don't know, we've probably got a dozen employees there. It just takes, everything has to, and you have to enhance every aspect of your business. And so we've got people such as Mike Adams that sets up as our general manager, or general superintendent. Unbelievable talent, and we have that at every department, and we have these. We're coming up on our year end at the end of this month, and people ask me, how in the world do you do inventory? Well, we have 30 superintendents at all. Many of them's been with me 20, 25, 30 years.
At your 18 locations.
And I think, as I was looking here a minute ago, we have 111 people that's been with us over 20 years. So we have veteran resources,
Yeah.
And once again, the best people in the world. So.
Well, the thing it's interesting, and actually Tony and I talked about this last night in preparing for the show, is as the demand for your product goes, well, you have to buy more vehicles, you have to get more drivers, then more vehicles require more maintenance people, and it's constantly adding because of the success of the company. Terry, tell us about just a snapshot of the employees that you have in Kentucky and around the country. How many employees do you have total?
We have about 1,400 employees company-wide, and of those 1,400, 765 of them are here in Russell County, and so we have a payroll of almost $37 million just for this community.
Just for Russell.
Just for Russell County, company-wide, it's in over $80 million company-wide. We're in a lot of cities and metropolitan areas, whether it's Dallas or Houston or in Connecticut, and we're in Florida, and from Florida to Connecticut and everywhere in between, Baltimore area. Our most recent location, we did open up in Houston early this year. Before that, it was Columbia, South Carolina. The year before that, it was Kansas City. So we've been, Pam sometimes wonders why I want to keep doing, but that's what we've always done.
Yeah.
That's what has worked for us, and as long as we can find good people and we're blessed not only in Russell County but a lot of these other states. We do have manufacturing in about 7 other states, not to the extent that we have here in Kentucky, but when we open up locations, many of them are distribution centers, and they rely on Russell County manufacturing.
So without question, your manufacturing hub is Russell County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And none of these other 18 locations in 16 different states, none of them would really be there without the production that happens in Russell County.
Right. And over the years, we would, like the vegetable processing plant there, the 2 mills located in Eli there that was built for a houseboat manufacturer. We bought buildings in this area over the years, and when we bought the Fruit of the Loom facility, we thought we'd be able to do a lot of consolidation, but it didn't work out because we filled that building up with manufacturing of various things. And took
how long did it take you to fill up for the Loom building? It's pretty quick.
It was pretty quick. We were fortunate to be able to buy some adjoining property, and just about a month ago we bought another 50 acres that joined us there. So there's for future needs. So but once again, there's we've been very, very, very fortunate. Here in a rural area of Kentucky, to be able to hire and retain truck drivers. There's a lot of, or any skilled labor. There's a lot of demand for welders or truck drivers or machinists or whatever. And like I say, we have the best in the world right here in Russell Springs. And as I was visiting there a little bit before the program, and I'm constantly noticing, the challenge that other businesses have, and their biggest challenge is their people. You'll go into a restaurant and it'll be empty or half empty, and the wait will be 2 hours. Well, it's 2 hours because they don't have any employees. They don't have enough employees. They don't have a skilled labor force.
Yeah, you see empty tables sitting there as you were explaining, and they tell you the wait's an hour and a half or 2 hours. Well, why? It's not because they don't have the space. They don't have the employees.
And when I see that makes me appreciate our people that much more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are able to grow our business model. We are able to grow our footprint around the country within our industry, and we're able to do that because, as I mentioned earlier, we've added 95 jobs here just in Kentucky within the last 12 months. So, and like I say, when we go, we've got designs on, as I mentioned, the Lilas welding building. I expect that'll require another 20 people or so.
Yeah.
So so we're not resting on our laurels. I mean, we've constantly been about growth, and we're a little concerned, like every business should be concerned, about the looming pending recession and whatnot. But I think we're probably on the front end of that. But we've been through the challenges before. We've been through the ups and downs in the national economic trends and so on and so forth before.
And something else Tony and I talked about, I don't think folks realize what goes on around the world. Global affects your product and your business. And sometimes I think people just don't grasp that. But in getting your supplies and getting your raw materials to put your products together, there are challenges in that based on what's happening around the world.
Well, it's the steel business and the business we're involved in. We have developed relationships all over the country. I recently had a birthday here the other day, and
Yeah.
so
Happy birthday, belated.
and here I'm getting calls from Dubai to wish me a happy birthday, India,
Yeah.
and Vietnam, various places. We deal with people all over the country or all over the world, and we ship our products all over the world. We certainly ship in all 50 states. We have we have, as I mentioned earlier, we had over 5,000 customers, and these people a lot of times we'll provide material for them that will be shipped to the Bahamas, to Guam, and we ship to almost all military bases all over the world, and so we've it's and then of course we've got a constant parade of vendors coming in domestically and overseas, and many of them have been calling on us for 25, 30, 35, many years. So, obviously develop a relationship with
So
these
you have
people.
contracts with the Department of Defense.
We don't, but what happens, Jeff? A lot of these government contracts, just like the border fence, they'll come out and what almost all of these things go through our customer base. We don't install anything. We manufacture and we supply to these mom and pop, and they're all sizes fence companies, but they will bid the fence just like the border fence. We might have 15 customers bidding this 2-mile section of border fence, and hopefully the one that gets it will use us as a supplier. So we don't technically sell that much to the government, but we sell to customers because the government typically wants it installed, or the state or the municipality or whatever, school systems all over in every community. It's typically one of our thousands of customers because they want the fence installed. They're just not buying the materials.
So they call one of your salesmen that you've already got a connection with and say, we got this bid, or we need this for this project.
Yeah, we have, for example, there is a solar job getting ready to let here in Russell County, and this is going to be a huge growth area for our industry because there's going to be solar farms in every county in the nation, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're buying up land now.
They're buying up land now. They're leasing land now, and we've probably quoted 20 people for this job in Russell County. Customers from Massachusetts, from Florida, from Nebraska, and they're bidding this job in Russell Springs.
Yeah.
And so that's how it works, and how we get engaged and involved. I had a customer text me the other night, and he said, "Turn on Fox News. I've got the backdrop of the Fox News program there. I put that fence up and bought it from you."
Is there?
So there's we've and we sell everything in fence, from gate operators to stake gates, PVC, aluminum fence, steel fence. I mean, and in the course of doing so, there's so many ebbs and flows of the material, especially the challenges that we've all faced with the supply chain issues that we are still experiencing. And for example, we sell a lot of aluminum products, and when the war broke out there with the Ukraine and Russia, they're a substantial producer of aluminum. Well, when that happened, aluminum prices went sky high.
Oh yeah.
And they pulled a lot of capacity out of the marketplace.
So supply went down, prices went up.
And then you'll have also a related issue with in Europe. They had it's an energy crisis. Everybody's been talking about. They depend on Russia for their energy.
Yep.
Well, 50% of the cost of production of aluminum is energy. Is 50% of the cost of the production of aluminum. So so all the European people have all these rolling blackouts or closures or so on and so forth.
Right.
So there's as many products as we distribute and manufacture. It's just unbelievable the difficulty. And here again, I go back to our people. Donna Johnson's the head of a department of our purchasing department. We have a lot of talent there in that department, and you'd have a component like as easy as glue that you couldn't get because you couldn't buy it. It just wasn't available, and you had to have it for a particular process. And
zinc. We were talking yesterday. Zinc is hard to get.
Zinc is a commodity that's been very, very expensive. It's well over triple what I used to pay for it, and but we have here again just the resourcefulness and the talent behind the scenes. My son-in-law Brooke Cochran. Brooke is a extremely talented young man that does a magnificent job in sourcing out a lot of these things and helping with quotes and so on and so forth and the overall business just from A to Z. But we just like I say, if it were not for the I keep going back, but if it were not for the talent that we have here in Russell County, there's no way we could have been doing anywhere near what we're doing. But the people find a way. They find a way to navigate this obstacle and to succeed.
Well, it's such a testament to your employees, the personnel that you have. And Terry, I'd like for you to share with our listeners the longevity of your employees. And you shared those numbers with us before we went on the air, but I think it's a testament to you and to your company and your employees just how long people have been with the business.
Well, we have 111 people that have been there 20 years and longer. We have 24 people that's been there for more than 30 years. It's we have. You can look around at our at our employees and whatnot that's been there quite a while. I mean, most of these people are living in nice houses and driving new cars. We get the on the Facebook, which I'm not on Facebook. But sometimes we'll get this criticism about pay, and whatnot. Well, I think we probably are I think we have probably the highest paid people in the county. I know we do by far, and because one reason because they're worth it. But the reality of it is, and this is not politically correct. I know that, but when you hire a lot of new hires, and people out here in the farming community or anywhere else can attest to what I'm about to say. But a lot of people aren't worth anything. They're not worth $1 an hour. And a lot of people come in. We used to get new employees, and they would come in off the farm 20 years, 25, 30 years ago. Now, then, they don't have that work experience, and they've been used to playing on a computer and thinking, or this or that and other games or what have you. But back many years ago, they'd come to work for us and think, well, this is easy. Nowadays, you get a new employee that comes in in the younger generation, and they're not. I don't want to carry. They're not all the same. We have some absolutely amazing young people that's starting with us. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the work experience that they had of manual labor, and so yeah, sure, they might start out at at $14 an hour, $12, $14 an hour, something like that, to see if we're going to keep. But people that have been there any period of time, I think one of the things that we're good at, and I appreciate all of our management. If we see talent in somebody, if we see opportunity, if we see potential in somebody, we don't look to keep them, and a lot of times that requires, enhanced pay and so on and so forth. And I think we do. I think we've done a really good job of identifying the talent as it comes in and doing everything we can to keep that talent. 205
people are over the age of 60. It's pretty amazing.
205 people are 60 years and older. That's right. And we actually have. I'm in this category here as of the last week or two, but 33 of us are 70 years old and older. But
you said one of your best workers is 78.
Yeah, we was talking about, and he's doing manual labor. He's in the shop, and he's 78 years old and done an outstanding job. But yeah, we have our. But like I say, and we're always looking for young people. We're always looking for young people, but like I say, the work experience is different today than it was 30 years ago for the youth of the country. So they you're going in and the culture shop for people that are starting their first job sometime when they're standing on concrete for 8 hours and fabricating parts or putting things together and whatnot, and it it's not easy, but that's just evolved over the many years we've been in business.
Terry, how did COVID affect your business?
Well, it affected quite significantly in that we lost a dear friend and key employee in Dale Long. He was a right-hand man there for many years. He actually took the office and developed into the role that J.R. Mann had held for so many years. J.R. was one of our first employees, and he was a big reason that in the early years and many years of growth of Stevens Pipe, and we appreciated him so much. Is proud to say that both his sons are working for me now. But COVID, of course, we were considered an essential business from the outset, and so because we do provide products to the military and to the government and so on and so forth. So, but we had an awful lot of people that's had COVID. We've had other people not only in Kentucky but in other states to lose their battle with COVID, and we've had it has been certainly a disruption, but of business when we had there's of course not only people that had it but people that were in the same in the room, that proximity, they'd be gone for 10 days in the early days. Yeah, it was I think today it might be 5 or 6, but back then it's 10 or 2 weeks or something or other. So yeah, that was a real challenge and a scary time because you just didn't know what route that was, what turn that was going to take. But it hit pretty close to home there with some of our folks.
It made getting your supplies and your material harder. Other places weren't open.
That's right, and here again, that was sort of the beginning of the supply chain disruption. Now people are very familiar with such things as baby formula, or back in the early days, it was toilet paper and this, that. But whatever it was, there was, and so it takes thousands of different products for our operation to run smoothly. So you can just imagine. We had trucks on order for well over a year. We have some that's still not delivered that we've ordered over a year ago, And same way with all kinds of equipment, whether it's saws or forklifts or what have you. So yeah, it's this supply chain disruption is a long way from being resolved. And then we had the import stuff, the import goods. They had ocean freight quadrupled, and which meant the prices impacted the prices and whatnot. And it's there's just nothing easy about running the steel business right now.
It's just always evolving, right? I mean, every day things are changing in the process. Prices, supply, getting products delivered. I mean, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Terry, several years ago, and I've talked to you before on this, but tell us about your contract you got with Walmart. You make those dog kennels years ago, and you went down there and those dog kennels, you made, I don't guess you know how many you made, but that was quite a story that your company just went down there and got that bid.
Well, we did. That was many, many years ago. That was Larry Blair was the one that introduced us there and got us in the door, and we sold them millions of dollars worth of goods for many, many years. However, we haven't for some time, but that has been at our decision, not theirs. But it just one of those business partnerships arrangements that just could have worked but didn't, because the product they bought was a dog kennel. A dog kennel is not going to sell very well unless it's displayed. We'd have our drivers, we'd have a couple of guys hired that do nothing but go up and set up Walmart displays. They wouldn't get off the parking lot but what they'd sell the display. And then so anyway, it wound up not being the best fit financially. So now we sell more of them to people like Tractor Supply and Lowe's, and people that come and pick them up.
Petco, or
we have sold some to Petco, but not.
So you're still manufacturing them?
Oh yeah.
Different.
The old Russell Sportswear building is almost entirely devoted to the dog kennel market, and we're actually the largest producer of dog kennels in the nation. We also would have that same designation in temporary panels. This is like if you're in any city, in Chicago, New Orleans, anywhere, and there's construction going on, you'll see panels, temporary panels securing a construction site or something like that. Well, those more than that's our product.
Yeah.
So you'll be you'll have a crowd control situation in Washington, D.C. One of our biggest customers is Long Fence. Well, they'll have their name on everything in the D.C. area. Well, most of that stuff we made, So everywhere I'm at, obviously I'm looking at the fences.
See where it came from.
Other people looking at buildings or I'm looking at the fences, And so, and who did it? Was this our customer?
Yeah.
And more often than not, it was. It is.
Well, I was fortunate to attend, and you mentioned the vice presidential debates at Center College, and I was able to go to both of them, Dick Cheney and Paul Ryan, and it was a great sense of pride, the fencing that was around, and your label there, Stevens Pipe and Steel, Russell Springs, Kentucky, and you see that occasionally. Did 9/11 have an impact on your business? Because I know people wanted more security, more fencing.
It has been said that the fence industry is recession-proof. That's not entirely true, but the reason they say that is because the sensitivity of securing your property or your goods or what have you. So, when there's more emphasis on security, there's more fence construction and so on and so forth. But you mentioned the vice presidential debates. It was a very interesting discussion I had with after those debates. There was 3 or 4 guys showed up all dressed off the black car. There's the Secret Service people. They showed up there and got acquainted with them there in Danville there and whatnot. Yeah. And they come in and like I say, brought me brought me some Secret Service goodies there, and cups and a plaque, and so on and so forth of their appreciation. But what I enjoyed most was some of them or some of their coworkers had worked the presidential details, and they was telling me all the inside stories of when they worked for back where Clinton or Gore, or Bush and so on and so forth. And anyway, they had I won't go into that, but some of them were quite colorful and they were quite detailed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Terry, I mean, you've got all of these operations in this business, and it's truly an amazing story of just a startup company with the American dream and what you've done. You also have a hobby that takes a lot of time, and I think people are enamored with, and that's your car collection. Tell us about that. Paul Robertson, his wife Paula, helped me with old car collection there, and I've convinced my wife that this is the only hobby I ever had that you don't lose money on. And
that's true.
I also have another hobby, racing, horse racing.
Yeah.
I can't say that about that hobby, but the old cars I've had for maybe 20 years or so. Looking to build a new facility there to house a few more here, hopefully before too long. And but I keep about 70 or 75 cars, and I enjoy going to the auctions, the Barrett Jackson auction, the Mecum auctions, and I've got a friend of mine that when I get too aggressive and buy too many, we can thin them out, and he sells them for me on eBay or something. But it's cars that I grew up with, and I grew up washing cars at the old Gulf station there on the corner of Sullivan Street there,
really?
Yeah. And I started working there when I was in about the 7th grade all through high school. Well, these were the cars I used to wash.
Yeah,
I used
clean.
to back in the 60s and the early 70s and whatnot. So most of the cars I have are muscle cars and of all of Ford, Chevrolet, Mopar, GTOs, Pontiacs. But anyway, I enjoy fooling with them, and like I say, it's always free to the public. And before COVID, we were open every day. Yeah. COVID shut us down, and we still haven't gotten fully back in the swing of things. I think Paula tries to keep it open on Friday and maybe in there for an hour or so around 10 o'clock every morning or so. But we have people from all over the country that come through and visit with us. And
you're talking about your location in the old Houchins building.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're excited about the new building you're going to build on Main Street, the former Lawhorn Ford building.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to tear that and the house next door, the old Cunningham house there. We're going to take those down sometime this winter probably, and then try to get started on building something that's
Do you have a favorite? If you had to pick one, Terry, what's your favorite?
Well,
if you could do it,
I've got probably my Mustang Boss 429. I've got one with 6,800 actual miles. Now Pam has the 83rd Corvette ever built. The first year of the Corvette was 1953, and we've got the 83rd Corvette that was previously owned by Alan Jackson, the country music singer.
Is that Pam's favorite?
Yeah, that's her car. That was her car for her 60th birthday. That's her 60th birthday present. But she says that I buy the same kind of cars all the time. I buy the Camaros, the Corvettes, and the Mustangs, and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of special cars, a lot of. I mean, you'll go to these sales. It's really interesting. Sometime back, I was at an auction, and a guy right behind me was bidding on a car, and he was so excited, and he stood up. He kept standing up. It was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 7'3",
Is that
there or
right?
something. So you'll be sitting there, but there's a lot of people go to those sales, and stuff, and so it's always neat to meet and you develop a network of friends that's just car people, and whatnot, and so and they usually come to those sales from coast to coast. So we've gotten developed relationships with a lot of car people all over the country. It's been fun.
What do you think about these electric cars coming out, Terry?
Well, I had one of my vendors there come by to see me here the other day, and he was, I think it was a Rivian, I think is what it was. And he took me right in it. It was pretty amazing in that how much power it had. I mean, it was probably faster than any high performance car I have in my collection. Stuff. It was amazing. But anyway, I don't know. I think we're getting ahead of the game a little bit. I mean, they better worry about keeping the lights on in California instead of trying to plug up several million cars. So I don't think that's going to take the day as fast as they say it's going to.
Yeah, you won't have that Mustang. You talk about Mustang, an electric Mustang. What's it sound like? That Mustang growl. What does an electric? And I asked Steve Lawhorn that. I said, "Do they have a sound effect for you? Because those electric cars are so quiet.
Yeah,
you almost don't know they're running.
You bet. That's part of you enjoy or starting up that Hemi there and there, and these electric cars are completely different. I don't know. I guess I'm old school there. I'm just I don't adapt to change as much as I.
And as we get older, it's less likely to adapt.
Absolutely.
Right? Terry, tell us what motivates Terry Stevens every morning to get up.
Well, I still enjoy working every day. I could not imagine a day that would come when I would retire. I tell people that they'll come from the funeral home and haul me out of there because I don't. But I enjoy what I do. I enjoy being around the people that I work with, and I enjoy watching the growth of the company. There was. Like I say, we've been at it for 48 years. I mean, like any business that suffers or experiences growth pains and so on and so forth. We did that too for 25 years. How are we going to make the next payroll? This and that. Well, fortunately, we've gotten beyond that, and because of the Lord's blessing and surrounded by good people, and so we're fortunate to have a good network of branch managers and superintendents and people from the top to the bottom. And, I just enjoy the interaction with all of our folks. Most all of my best friends are coworkers or managers, and we, so I wouldn't think about it. I mean, I dread holidays because I don't get to go to work.
Well, I want to share what Pam said one time. We were just talking at church, and you all been on a trip or something. And I can't get Terry to take a trip for longer than 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you've always done. You don't like being away from your co-workers and employees.
We took a Alaskan cruise in 2006, and I calculated, and it had been 29 years since I had taken a week off.
Is that right?
Prior to that, to that trip.
Yeah. Well, and you talk about your employees, and Tony and I have heard this from your employees and people you work with. They respect you, but they truly care about you and love you. And you just celebrated your 70th birthday down in Nashville, surprise party. More than 200 of your colleagues and co-workers and employees showed up down there in Nashville to celebrate with you. I mean, what a testament that is, Terry.
Well, that was a pretty special. It was certainly a surprise,
Yeah.
and we did see industry people there that I hadn't seen for many years. Many of them had long retired and come down to visit with us and whatnot. And we had, we had a lot of our folks there that and whatnot. It was certainly a surprise. We had just a lot of friends and coworkers there and whatnot. But and Ted Eisenbach, he got up and said a few kind words about
never a loss for words.
Never a loss for words. But we had it's been 48 years, but look, it's just like anybody that's wakes up and they're 70 years old. Where did it go?
Yeah. Well, you certainly mean a lot to a lot of people. You mean a lot to this community, and it's just an amazing story what you have done personally and the growth of the company. And Tony, it personifies the American dream.
Hard work,
dedication, commitment.
I like what you told me, Terry, when you first were going around, and some of the folks would say, "There's the junk man," but you said tell us a little bit about that before we wrap this up.
Well, I'll get to that. I first of all, you're talking about a lot of our folks. I have a lot of classmates. We still work together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a family of friends and whatnot. But when I first started, I was selling just secondary material. Well, all of my competitors at that time, of course, I was so small, I wasn't really even considered a competitor, but I was always referred to as the junk man because all we sold was secondary material for the first 5 years of our business. Well, and of course, unbeknownst to them, a lot of people used temporary fence, and they used secondary materials for a lot of different applications and reasons. So they was actually sending me business, but they thought they was saying that in a derogatory way.
Yeah.
But I'd have people that anyway. I had a lot of interesting stories there about people. I had a customer. I had a customer there in North Carolina. He turned out to be a huge customer and whatnot, but he didn't want any of his other vendors to know that he was talking to me. He said, "I'll meet you in the restroom there where nobody can see us there," that type of thing, and I'll get your, and we'll make an order or something. But anyway, but most of those competitors at that day are either no longer, or we've long since passed them up and left them in the dust. Because of our people.
Well, Terry, we appreciate you. Appreciate your time. A company with 18 different locations in 16 states, 1,400 employees, 765 of those employees are right here in Kentucky, Russell County, $37 million annual payroll into Russell County. It's a phenomenal story, and we appreciate you sharing with us the story of Stevens Pipe and Steel and sharing with our listeners what it means to this community. And I want to say on a personal note, I've said this very publicly, as you know, Terry, but a few years ago I was going through a dark time in my life, Tony, and Terry Stevens called me and gave me some encouragement that I'll never forget. And I appreciate you, Terry. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And like I say, not only just our employees, not only the payroll we provide, but the others, the tentacles, the other services that we require from the local community. We try to buy everything domestically. We try to buy everything locally that we can, and we support so many different other businesses in town and whatnot. And whether it's fuel, whether it's parts, or whether it's whatever, but we do feel like that we have play a role here in this community and the growth of this community, and we try to. And as one of the larger employers in town, we feel a civic responsibility to support a lot of the activities and a lot of the needs, and certainly that of the youth of the community and whatnot. And we appreciate it.
Terry Stevens, our guest here this morning, talking about Stevens Pipe and Steel. We appreciate Terry, Tony. Next Friday, we're going to look at the history of the Russell County Laker Band. Bernie McGahey, longtime